Use of Weapons is the culture novel that punches hardest. Skip it, and you miss modern sci-fi greatness. A non-linear puzzle box. The novel tells its story backward and forward at once. Chapters alternate between countdown and chronology, like two fuses racing toward one bomb. Banks numbers the backward chapters in descending Roman numerals, signaling tightening tension. Forward chapters climb from childhood trauma toward a present mission for the culture. At first, the pattern feels gimmicky, even confusing. Yet repetition breeds dread, because each return journey exposes older wounds. You realize events are not merely out of order, they are strategically concealed. The structure forces you to question cause, effect, and even morality. Reveals land like artillery, because you have loaded their shells yourself. The final convergence delivers a revelation both inevitable and sickening. Rereads then feel compulsory, because clues hid in plain sight from page 1. Few space operas dare such narrative engineering and pull it off cleanly. Banks does, and the risk amplifies his payoff. Cheradenine Zakalwe. Warrior, weapon, wound. Zakalwe is the culture's favourite blunt instrument, but he never fits their sheath. He appears as an aging mercenary hauled from self-destruction for one last job. His handler, Diziet Smar, knows their bond is equal parts pity and dread. Zakalwe solves political stalemates by staging uglier wars, a paradox Banks examines ruthlessly. Flashbacks show him young, brilliant, and already practicing emotional compartmentalization. He fights for causes, yet believes nothing lasts except personal obligation. That conflict bleeds into his every conversation, even banter with smart-mouthed drone Skaffen Amtiskow. Banks paints trauma through action rather than confession. We learn Zakalwe's fears from the weapons he chooses and the friends he discards. The backward chapters peel layers until only the original wound remains. When truth finally surfaces, the character flips like a two-sided coin. What seemed heroic becomes monstrous. What seemed tragic becomes tragically earned. It is a character study executed with surgeon steadiness and barroom brutality. War, ethics, and the smirking future. Use of Weapons argues that progress still uses knives, only with cleaner handles. The culture is post-scarcity, pacifist in theory, and relentlessly interventionist in practice. Special circumstances agents claim to guide primitives toward better outcomes. Banks refuses smug answers, showing collateral damage across planets and souls. Zakalwe's missions topple dictatorships, yet replace them with quieter oppression. The narrative asks if moral calculus matters to those counted as decimal places. Symbols repeat: chairs, ships, coffins, each doubling as tools and cages. Even the novel's title contends that any object can harm if intent sharpens it. Banks filters philosophy through visceral scenes, never the lecture hall. One firefight aboard a monorail reveals more about utilitarianism than 10 essays. Humour also punctures the darkness, because drones gossip and ships name themselves jokes. That levity makes the horror feel crueler, not lighter. The result is a thematic minefield you cross willingly, eyes wide. Should you read it today? This book will reward you, then haunt you. First-time culture readers can start here, but they must embrace disorientation. Banks provides enough context about mines, ships, and galactic politics. However, emotional payoff depends on patience with fractured chronology. Skim and the twist will feel cheap. Study, and it detonates. Prose balances Baroque description with sardonic banter, so pages race by. Action scenes slice quickly, yet never blur spatial logic. Audiobook listeners should note that shifting timelines can challenge distracted ears. The violence is graphic, but never gratuitous. Each wound serves narrative math. Collectors might prefer the recent Orbit paperback. Typography highlights the opposing chapter counts. If you love Le Guin's questions and Reynolds's hardware, this marries both. You may emerge unsettled, maybe angry, definitely changed. That is precisely why use of weapons endures 3 decades after release. Read the full deep dive article below for detailed analysis, quotes, and spoiler discussion.